Since this is hosted by the Network for Peace Through Dialogue, we have a custom in our organization. We frequently have living room dialogues and other dialogue sessions, and we always use and reflect on these dialogue practices. We ask you to talk with your table group about these questions and select one person who will speak for the group, just presenting the major ideas or the major insights from the group, not every topic discussed.
We spoke about the threats to our current economy, which do not help any understanding of what we're all trying to find out more in this room. We spoke about Europe versus the United States. I said that I had read that there was a negative birth rate in Germany and Europe, am I correct? Saw that by taking in these refugees and migrants, and they have, as of course they're German, a very well-organized program of integrating them into society with a time frame in terms of learning the language in 6 weeks, being developed and checked and whatever, and they are going to be working in the areas that Germany needs workers.
In the US, for instance, we went from a situation where we needed immigrants to a situation where we don't decide, and therefore immigrants are imposed. And therefore the welcoming mentality that is required is very different. So how important it is, it's very important because the change must come from the population that is receiving the immigrants, which is not something that we have asked to start with. So it's a huge jump. The second point is, where does the discussion need to happen? Cross-faith, cross-organizations. If we want to overcome the fear that comes from people we don't know.
Why don't we talk about the other refugees? It seemed that we were just focusing on one particular area, and that is not to say that addressing those needs and those questions are not important. When you are bringing large groups of individuals into your country, what impact does that have on the country? What impact does it have on the resources that the citizens of that country rely upon due to the taxes that they are paying, and now they are being asked to, I don't want to use the word share, but share, if you will. The point here is that if we are then going to disseminate this information among other people so that they take it to heart, so that they therefore will do something about it, is to realize that what these people are doing is that they are not trying to be sucking the lifeblood out of the other countries, but actually trying to preserve. And of course, we talked a little bit about the money that is involved in all of this. Where is it coming from? With the UN, etc. And that's going to, as was mentioned, is going to decrease because the UN is losing funding left and right all over. But it was also brought out about going back to the refugees. Nobody's talking about the thousands and thousands that are in Jordan and Lebanon and what is going on with them as well. So it's a multifaceted problem.
In terms of the question of migration, we're all migrants or descendants of migrants. We have all come from somewhere to somewhere. We also talked about migration after the war and how the migration was from Europe to the rest of the world. The migration now, in terms of some countries, is to Europe. And we noted very ironically that Europe had let go of its borders. The UN has no power. It's all dependent on the goodwill of the country states, the member states. And at this point in time, the majority of countries have no political will to do anything about conflict.
Some of what we talked about was similar to what other groups talked about, but we did focus a lot on the underlying causes for the immigration. War, of course, is probably the major current reason for immigration. There's supposed to be a conference with heads of state in September trying to talk about this.
We had varying perspectives, of course, and opinions, but we seem to agree that the issue of migration is extremely important and includes everyone. It doesn't matter the age or gender of the person. We can start at home to discuss migration. And as you can tell, I'm not American, and I just had to deal with visas. So I'm not quite an immigrant. That's what I'm not. It doesn't say I'm an immigrant. I'm on a non-immigrant visa, but I understand. I was just considering that I was lucky to not be a refugee, because sometimes you're in a position where you need papers and you don't have them. So something that was brought up was the issue was the fear that seems to arise when people think about the issue of migration and refugees. And we're saying that a lot of the reactions are fear-based reactions, and thinking about how we might communicate understanding and compassion. And
we all, at a time in our lives or in our communities, decided to migrate somewhere. And right now, the situation that we're in is these immigrants or these migrations are being forced upon them because of control of powers that be at that particular country. You don't know why they're coming in, they're just coming in. And if we don't understand why they're coming in, we don't know how to help them. And if you look at the destruction, basically it's a lot of control, political control, land control. So we're destroying the land through war. These people have to leave because they have no other choice but to leave. The way that things are now, they're being forced out, and the probability of them going back home is very, very small. We, as well as the immigrant, will benefit from their contribution to our society and to our community, and their impact on us will be as important as we serving